Alex Barbado of VMware. It's great to talk to you. Thanks very much for your time today. How are you seeing agencies preparing for or building DevSecOps environments, building them flexibly, building them adaptably, and avoiding getting stuck in a situation where they are locked with one vendor? Welcome, Alex.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Honestly, I think people are at the center of everything in that question. Like, well, stop everything and start there, right? I think we see a cycle in the federal government of, hey, we really want to take a lot of this in-house. Oh my gosh, wait, hold on, let's go back out to industry. Oh wait, no, we want this again. We don't like it. We're locked in. And you see this cycle, right? And for me, it's about how do you straighten that line more and make it less of a big loop that's really painful. And I think it's okay for it to be a little wavy. And it's really the people. Are they comfortable with the actual tools? Do they understand like the broader ecosystem? Because you can get locked into the most open source of open source things. And now you're spending $67 jillion to pay for specialist contractors that understand that niche domain. I think it's about trying to make sure that your people feel comfortable with the tools they're working with and they are really in control of like your business IP. Ideally, if you have a great tool that does a thing, what is lock-in at some level, right? Like that is just like the nature of life. But I think that's kind of what I'm seeing and what I'm hoping to see from people.
And the core of that, it strikes me then, is making sure that whoever you're working with understands what you need and understands what the potential outcome is, both for the agency and for the vendor that's working with them. Is that a fair read on my part?
100%, 100%. I mean, the industry comes, they have a need. You have a need as a business. And I think it's about both of you being experts in your domain and having just enough connective glue to be able to effectively leverage one another. So you have to really have that balance.
Is there a difference between what an effective collaboration structure looks like in a DevSecOps environment compared to a traditional vendor agency relationship?
Honestly, I think that no is the answer, right? We talk about DevSecOps like it's this big, magical, mythical dragon that you come and get. And really, it's delivering software mostly, right? And we've been delivering software for a long time. Some would argue we need to do it better. And in my mind, that's what DevSecOps is today. So you have to find the partners that are willing to go with you on that journey, period, full stop, right? If we're going to all sit here and follow the exact letter of the law of every single contract, I mean, that's what we've been doing for years. And then we have to find a way to be flexible, to be nimble on both sides. It has to come from industry being flexible and, the government being flexible with them.
If I'm reading between the lines inaccurately, please correct me, but it sounds like what you're saying is the ability to do that already exists, and agencies just need to figure it out or maybe need help figuring it out from their industry partners about how to do it in some cases.
100%. I think we see there's a lot more flexibility today in how you can go to market from the government. I mean, I'm not a contracting whiz, but there are a lot of vehicles. None of them are trivial. And I don't envy the position that any contracting officer is in. But there has to be, a full loop circle of feedback between the person putting the actual need on the street, the actual users that are deriving that need and saying this is what it is, and industry coming to meet it. Every single one of them has to be much more flexible than I want a 5-year set contract that says I will deliver these 7 bullets. Because it's just the antithesis of DevSecOps, right? If we talk about what is new today, it's that, right? Like I'm not building you a ship, I'm building you something that we know is going to change in a few weeks.
So you talked at the beginning of this conversation about that circle, the circle of life, we'll call it, and and flattening it. Is absolutely flat the right way, or is maybe squishing it down to an oval where that cycle doesn't perpetuate itself quite so quickly, or maybe flattening it at least to more of a continuum than, I mean, maybe we're getting a little too existential and I'm thinking about it a little too hard. But I wonder if there's a balance between where agencies are today and where they've been in the past, where they potentially can go in the future, and trying to figure out that right balance of what agencies should do, what industry should do, and so on.
I think it's tricky, right? If you look at just straight commercial industry, incentives are real, right? That the market is real. It will tell you you need to meet this bottom line or you've got a problem. And that creates a flat line because it's straightforward. There is one incentive. We have to work towards it. And it wavers a little bit on that circle of life. You do a lot less of I need to own, you need to own. It's about, hey, we got to get to that outcome. Well, right now we're relative peacetime on the spectrum of things, right? There's obviously conflicts, and even internally for civilian agencies, there's conflict, right? But it's not too dramatic. So I think there's a lot of time for us to look internal, and I don't think you're ever going to fully get out of that loop when there's no big pressure like a war or some really big hack or something that pushes us to be like, hold on, like we've got to get the ship totally straight. I think it's about just making it smooth, right? Smooth and seeing it happening, right? And noticing like, we're going back up the hill. We're feeling frustrated with what we did. What did we do wrong this time? Okay, we had some really rigid contracts. We didn't have the right people in place. The structure was wrong. Okay, fine. Let's ask industry, but let's figure out how we collaborate better and smooth it out to smaller circles or flatter line. I don't know.
What does this look like in its ideal mature state? What does a DevSecOps environment that's healthy and thriving look like, given the collaboration that we talked about, given the need for success in the area of people that we talked about, and so on?
I think there are levels of maturity, right? But for me to get to the first stage of maturity, you've got to be able to meet your users' needs on a timeline that matters. Like that is to me the bare bones. You're not doing quote quote DevSecOps today if you're still having problems just shipping stuff out in a relatively secure fashion. Notice I didn't say anything about the tools. I didn't say anything about the you've got a Kubernetes or you've got a whatever, right? None of that. That's all implementation detail of the actual outcome being we're shipping. And then as you go up that maturity chain, now we're starting to do some introspection of where are some weaknesses in our tooling profile. Yeah, we use a lot of VMware there. Maybe we should diversify. Whatever, right? Like those are good questions to ask once you've reached initial maturity. If you put the cart ahead of the horse and you're like, I have to do everything totally perfect with every single tool that has no cost, no whatever, right? Like this nirvana that I think just in practice, total cost of ownership as a thing doesn't really exist. You get caught in the sauce and you forget that like, no, like maturity is delivering software. And then we optimize the things like, avoiding lock-in and making sure that we are staying latest and greatest and so on and so on.
Alex, it's great to talk to you. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
No, thanks, Francis.